Good afternoon and welcome to another Kerfuffle showcase, and I am delighted to have here one of the granddaddies of the Supplier. That's not you, Tom. I'm not sure you were there. From Cramer Science.
No, great. No, been really looking forward to this. There was sort of three things I've been looking forward to this week. There was opening the advent calendar today, so I've treated myself to one of the beer ones. So actually stopped me from binging the chocolate and getting all 25 days out of the way on day one. Barber's opening tomorrow, so so there's an obscene amount of hairspray that's gone into this to make sure I look respectable for you today. And and then obviously speaking to you, we're they're really pleased to be here. We're really, really happy and excited to be part of the Kerfuffle community and using your platform to not only interact with our existing customers, but to reach out to estate agents across the UK. And it's working really well. We've got loads of reviews coming through and leads. So
it's looking really good. And obviously you did them in reverse order of importance, yeah?
Oh, what was that? Sorry.
You did them in reverse order of importance.
Yeah. Oh no! I'll save the best for last. So but I'll leave it there because this has turned into a Kerfuffle spotlight.
No, that will happen. Well, look, Tom. I mentioned that. First of all, thanks very much for coming on board. Yeah, this is obviously your launch on the site, but almost everyone in the industry will know of you because I mentioned before you are the granddaddies as far as I'm concerned in terms of board. We're going to delve into a lot more about what you do there over the next few minutes. And I guess what I was really keen to understand is, we get recognised a lot. I think people misassociate us with just looking at tech companies, and especially obviously prop tech companies. But actually, the whole supplier community is what we're interested in. And you would suggest that one of those companies. That delivers time after time with agents, doesn't it? Because they know that boards, the most famous phrase was boards, don't they?
Yes, no, exactly, and that's a motto that was used by Bob Scarf at Countrywide, the former MD there, and we firmly believe that. I mean, we're the UK's leading supplier of signage to the property market. We've been in business since 1984, so we've been servicing the estate agency for 36 years. Myself, I've been involved in sales for 11 years, so we've got a sort of fountain of knowledge when it comes to signage solutions for estate agents. We still see it as a very important marketing tool for estate agents, and I feel like they feel the same. So for us, a bit of background about us. Obviously, like I said, we've been in business for 36 years. We work from 3 locations throughout the UK. Myself, I'm based here in Newbury. This is our head office. This is where our main production facility is, where sales, the designers are all based here. And then we have a production facility in Sleaford in Lincolnshire and also Bristol. And this gives us the capacity to really be able to offer a full UK solution and be able to service estate agents all over the UK. Currently, we currently service around 60 to 65% of UK estate agents. That's our current market share. Wow. Obviously, that is a moving feast, as you know. Estate agents, a lot of estate agents start up each year, and some offices may close. But that's the sort of percentage that we work with, and that really varies. So we work with a lot of the larger groups, so the Sequence, Martin & Co, Savile, Stratton Parker, Countrywide, Connells, but then right through to your single independent estate agents on the high street. So there really is no job too big or too small. We sort of welcome 25 sort of minimum board orders for a local agent, as well as a multi-office rebrand. I mean, the goal is to increase our market share, and the way we do that is through having all of these independent estate agents join us as well. And what we can offer, which is slightly different to other suppliers, is the fact that we can offer a full signage solution. So it's from design right through to manufacturing and delivery, but then it's the boards, the office fascia signage, window displays, land and new homes boards, and this it is a full sort of single source solution, which a lot of estate agents use us for, just for ease. and how cost effective that can be by having one supplier.
So that's a sizable client base you've got there, and in terms of the scale of what you get involved with. Give us, you mentioned the 3 locations. How many people does that involve working in the company?
Yeah. So we currently, we currently work with about 25 people here, and the other bases they're just manufacturing units. So there's 7 in both of them, but they're just purely manufacturing. So whilst this has been a very challenging year, and obviously we're very lucky to be in the market that we're in, that the property market was able to, given the green light back in April, we've actually managed to employ new people. So we've actually taken on some new printers during this time, which is quite a good success story. And we're really lucky that's been the case, because, as you know, a lot of industries have really suffered. So we're very lucky in that respect.
That's really good. Idea. I mean, on the face of it, Cramer signs and the boards, it all seems very obvious. But give us an idea what's involved in the actual, the process of design, print, and delivery. What makes it happen?
Yeah, so it's so it can come in at all different stages. So it could start with an estate agent who is totally new. They haven't even got their logo yet, so we could start as early as that, where we can come up with logo concepts. And then once that's confirmed, we will offer a helping hand. We've got a design studio here, which, again, some of the designers have been here longer than me, so they've got a great idea of what works, what doesn't work, and work back and forth with the agent until we establish a board design which they're happy with. And that's really important, really, because the designers which we have here, a lot of estate agents tend to use the design agencies. And the problem with that is not only can they be very expensive, but also they don't always know the legalities of a board. So the board itself has to be 0.5 square metre in size. The sold slips have to have STC at the end of it. And then when you attach the slip onto the board, sometimes the design agencies will send us these boards, and it's heartbreaking, because the agents love them. They're really nice boards, but you might find out that because of where the post is, the slip isn't going to attach to the board, or the drill hole is going to go through a QR code on the other side, and you think, why didn't you just come to us? Because it sort of cuts out the middleman, and it can be cost effective in that respect, and also just saves time. So we can pick up the business from as early as that, and obviously repeat orders if the board design hasn't changed. And then we manufacture here. It's all done in house. And you'll have one contact handler who will, an account manager, which will help you out through the design process, through to keeping you updated on where the boards are in the system. We're currently working on a 10 working day lead time to have the boards from approval of order through to being delivered. This can fluctuate as well. I mean, typically during this time of year, we tend to see the market become a little bit quieter, but with the way it is at the minute, we haven't seen that. But so that's what we currently work to. And then through to delivery and install, we again, it would all be dealt with through the same account handler. They'll let you know when the boards are going to be delivered. We don't do the erecting of the boards. We work with a number of signage installers throughout the whole of the UK. So if you were to come on and say, we're based in Ashford in Kent, who would you recommend? We've got an extensive list of who we could recommend. We'll deliver the boards direct to them. They then store them, and then let us know exactly when you need to restock on boards, and we can reach out to those agents. So it's quite a seamless process, and it is from start to finish. And the main thing out of that is just to use us for the design element, because you can save yourself a lot of money and time. So and then obviously that's the board element. With fascias and window displays, it's very similar. We can come and attend site, take all the measurements, take all the photos of your office, and come back to you within 48 hours with a quote, along with the visuals, sort of superimposed onto photos to show you exactly how your office is going to look. And again, we're all industry professionals, so we can let you know what's achievable in your high street, whether you're a listed building. We can suggest certain specs which are going to be compliant with your councils, and take a look at other agents on your high street and give you an idea of specs which are going to help you gain the competitive edge down the high street. So So yeah, so and you're dealing with one account handler throughout all of this. So it's if you're using someone for boards, someone for fascias, and someone for window displays, obviously the brand can get lost in translation, and also your time can be quite time consuming.
And that's amazing to know. And talk me through as well. So you've got the 4 divisions. Is that the full range of signage solutions, or have you got other ones as well?
Yeah, no. So that's the full range. So just quick overview: you have Cramer boards, Cramer office, Cramer displays, and Cramer new homes. So the main benefit that estate agents get out of using us for these 4 divisions is brand consistency. So obviously estate agents, you don't know much about signage, and obviously how damaging a brand can be if the colours are not consistent between your boards to your fascia to your hoarding at a new home site development. So we can offer total brand consistency across the range, and act as a one-stop shop. So the Cramer boards division, this is all your residential boards, so your tea and flag boards outside of property, through to the hangman, so the American adopted style for prestige properties. We've seen quite an uptake on that over the past year, through to the V boards to be used on terrace properties. So everything, so all the boards, they're all covered, through to Cramer office. So this is your office fascia signage, pavement signs, internal signage, so wall logos, wall maps, window graphics, and then the displays, so Cramer displays. So this is your LED illuminated light pockets at night. They could be installed on cables in the windows or freestanding, but we have a lot of bespoke options available. And a good example of this was a customer which I done last month, Ballards, and they're based in Henley. They've got Henley, Marlow, and Twyford, and he came up with the idea. He said, "Look, can we make our displays rotate?" So they actually rotate. So you on the reverse side, so you get more for your pocket, so you can have other property details on the reverse. And again, yes, we can, and we'll find a way, and we'll make that bespoke, and that's again something which is going to help you gain the competitive edge down the high street, especially during the darker months. Obviously, that's it's going to illuminate very well, and going to help you to stand out from the crowd. So the displays, again, this is very cost effective, because if you were to say, and Ballards is a good example, we did their boards, fascias, and displays. If you were to order them all through separate suppliers, you'll have someone delivering the board, someone installing the fascias, and someone installing the displays. But by us doing that, you're having one installation charge. We can deliver the boards at the same time, and we can look after all the design. So it's so it is really it's an easy process for estate agents. And the final string to that bow is the Cramer new home. So we work quite closely with Kevin Ellis. So we he puts a lot of work our way for some of the estate agents that he partners with, and and this covers anything from the hoarding on the development site, through to Harris fence banners, site signs, plot boards. And again, and I know I keep saying it, it's just keeping the brand consistent throughout, which is key, and very cost effective. So with over those 4 brands, we really can offer that sort of one-stop shop approach to signage. And I mean, back in 1984, when we started out, and it was just Richard Cramer and Steve Gosney, they were the first 2, working out of a garage, a single unit in Newbury. We could supply the boards and the fascia signage and commercial boards. But then when the boards blew up, and this is why we're so renowned for the boards, is because that went nationally very quickly. But it wasn't until 2012 when we acquired a lot of signage installers throughout the UK, and we've got a really good network now, so we can actually install fascia signs throughout the whole of the UK and window displays. Whilst we're renowned for boards, and that will always be our bread and butter work, obviously we can do office fascia signage. And another example is Peter Lawrence, your friend Peter Lawrence. We did Lawrence Rand for their office in Ruislip, and We did the office fascia signs, boards, and window displays, and it was really easy for him. We could offer that consistency and the ease of just having one person to talk to. So yeah.
You've got Peter Lawrence on board. That's like Caesar saying okay.
Yeah.
If you pass that very strict
yes.
Tom, let me just read out a couple of. We've got a few reviews that have been popping in from the site, so I'll just read these. This is from Danielle Griffin of Waterfoods. We've been using Cramer signs for many years, and they have never let us down. Good product, great service, would thoroughly recommend. Jumping into Rachel here from Rachel Hopping from Green GTH. We have used Cramer for a number of years, and they recently helped us with the production of our refresh board and designs. Some of the team have been very helpful, patient with a number of proofing rounds, and supportive throughout the whole process. They were quick to respond in order to keep the project on track, and we were excited to see the new board proudly displayed in our patch soon. And then the final one was this initial patch. This is from Rick Watson from Miles Byron. I dealt with Tom, who was absolutely outstanding. He was very patient and, more importantly, professional. Overall, I've received a great service from Tom and Cramer signs. I'm extremely happy with the final design of my new for sale and sold signs. Highly recommended. Thank you, Tom and Cramer signs. So there's a lot of love out there for you, Tom.
Yeah, no, it's great. And like I said earlier, obviously we've only just joined Kerfuffle and we've had a great response already. So no, it's always great to hear from the customers.
Well, look, I think what we're about, if anything, Tom, is it's giving you a platform. You've already got a great business. You've got a lot of fans, and all we're trying to do is obviously give you that ability to be recognised as much as you deserve to be. So, that's what we're trying to do. And it doesn't happen through magic. Obviously, you've built this up over decades of obviously of working hard for it. So it's a great accomplishment, which makes me feel a bit of a shit for asking you this next question. Are estate agency boards still relevant in this digital age?
Yeah. No, to be fair, it's something which we get asked a lot. I get asked this and get asked to comment on it through the Negotiator magazine. It pops up sort of annually. But I'll always stand by is that the for sale board is the universal symbol that a property is for sale. Sticking with the motto "old but gold," I mean, it is the oldest marketing tool available to estate agents, but there's a reason why it's never been replaced and why we think it is still so important. As you said earlier, Bob Scarf of Countrywide used to always, he used to always use the motto "boards breed boards," and that really does still apply today. And because the street presence of an estate agency board is so important to agents. I mean, as soon as the property has come on for sale, the board is up straight away. Agents are always looking for ways to increase their street presence. So over the past couple of years, we've seen estate agents looking to sponsor local events. So this could be summer fates, Christmas fairs, even some rural areas. I think last year we had an estate agent sponsoring a duck race. It was just anything like that, literally just to get the board up, increase the brand awareness, and to enhance their brand, because it's important, because it's the subliminal marketing that's going on in the background. So with Rightmove, obviously, if you're looking for a property, you go on to Rightmove and you'll find it. I live in Newbury, so if I know what agents boards I see on a regular basis, I'm not thinking of moving. But if I see an estate agency boards that keeps popping up as sold, when I do come to sell my property, I'm going to go to that agent, and that's purely because I've seen that. And also, a lot of people will go to canvass an area before they move there. I mean, if they wanted to, say if they wanted to move to Ashford in Kent, they would go drive there. They'd look at local neighbourhoods and boroughs or whatnot, and to see where they live. And again, if they see the estate agency board of a particular agent and that brand is in their face, that's who they're going to call. Equally, if you're not even thinking of buying a house. So I could go to an area to visit a friend or family, and if I see the board up at a certain property, I think, oh, that's my dream house, then that's going to capture their business as well. And even goes down to not everybody is tech savvy. Whilst we do live in a day and age where that is becoming more and more popular, some people do like the face-to-face approach, and will go into an estate agency. As I said, we'll go canvass an area, and people which don't use the internet or apps or whatnot, this still applies to them. So it's a great way of increasing brand awareness, and when agents rebrand, they sort of lead the way with the boards just to get that brand out there, get it out into the local area that matters first. And this has helped during this COVID period. I mean, estate agents were restricted to work from home. But meanwhile, the boards are still out on the streets. A lot of people are out walking about, jogging, and during the curfew times, and the boards are still offering that around the clock exposure. But don't get me wrong. Obviously, there's a place for everything. The links between the boards and the digital world is there, in the simplest form that they display the web address on the boards.
Yep.
But what we've seen off the back of COVID is the introduction again of QR codes.
It's really interesting this time, isn't it? I thought QR codes were done. They'd had their moment and everything else, and actually, you're starting, as you're just talking about, you've seen a real resurgence of QR codes. NFC technology has been touted for a while, hasn't it, in terms of things like that. What was the QR code resurgence there then?
Yeah, so as I said, during COVID, I mean, where the track and trace system became available, and it's sort of people which weren't sort of using or accustomed to what a QR code was before now use them. So for that reason, estate agents have jumped onto the back of that, and we've, over the past 6 months, we've rebranded a lot of boards to again include the QR codes, or to have a post tag which sits just underneath the board, to read and scan me for property details. It will take you through to that area of the website. When you say about NFC technology, this is something which we jumped the gun a bit on this one. So this was going back maybe 5 years ago. We introduced something called a smart board. And this was where an NFC chip was, again, it was a post tag which sat underneath the board and attached to the post, and an interested party could hold the phone up. It would take them straight through to that area of the website for that particular property's details. And then they could also enter in their contact information to receive a brochure. So it was lead generating as well. The problem with NFC is that not all phones are compatible with NFC. I mean, we started this about 5 years ago. So whilst there's there's a few Android phones which work, Apple don't currently have that technology. And I mean, we were a bit ahead of that. So it was taken up. A lot of agents use that. I mean, a recognisable name is Stratton Parker. They rolled it out nationally. And what the beauty of it is that you could scan that, it'll take you through to the property details, and as soon as that board gets taken down from that property, the chip could be reassigned to another property. So I mean, I think it's there. I mean, that's something which will be used again in the future. I think we just got ahead of that one a bit too quick, and I think that will be something which will rear its head again in coming years.
It's easily done though. Quite often, technology kind of batters itself against the rocks of early adoption and everything else. And I've no doubt that one of the biggest reasons why QR codes weren't adopted was back then you had to download specific apps, didn't you, to do it? One of the big changes is now most of them, certainly iPhones, once you hold the normal photo over it, picks it up automatically. And that's a massive change, isn't it? Just that. Just that.
Yeah, no, and like I said, estate agents have recognised that, and there's been a lot of agents which have come on and rebranded their boards, which is quite costly to redo all of their boards, but they've seen it as something which is a necessity which they need to include. And going back to, obviously there's a place in the market for estate agents boards and for digital marketing, but what I'd say is that estate agent boards are very, very cost effective. So if you compare it, say, you can't really compare it in terms of its service, but Rightmove compared to a for sale board. A for sale board, in worst case scenario, so for a minimum order of say 25, is going to cost you around about £10. if you have that board and if you use that at 5 different properties, that's cost you £2 per property.
Yeah.
So if you think about what you're gaining, the brand exposure out of that for such a little price is very, very cost effective. So for that, paired up with the other reasons that I just said with the subliminal marketing, how you can integrate it with the digital world, I do think it's a very important marketing tool which will be around forever. So yeah, but obviously when I say obviously the boards, you can get multiple uses out of them. Obviously, it's all down to the quality of the board and how long that board's going to last, and that's what we pride ourselves on is the longevity of the board and how many usage you can get out of it, because that's where the real saving is.
Okay, so let's talk about that then, because clearly you're not, as massive as your client base is, and with some of the biggest blue chips, whisper it quietly, you're not the only show in town. But what does set you apart as the best board provider? I mean, you've just mentioned the boards. Can you just run us through what you think your USPs are?
Yeah, so it's really is down to the small details which go into it. So we use 8-color process, state of the art digital printers. But we've actually worked with Canon and we've developed inks, and we prime our boards to ensure that the ink bonds very well with the Corex. Again, all about longevity of the board, and which is going to show you the true saving. So that paired with the Corex which we use, so it's 750 GSM, which is probably means absolutely nothing to you, but that's the density of the Corex. So where our boards, to talk about the flag board is 6 mil. Another supplier might come on, oh, well, our boards are 6 mil. But what you want to look at is how dense the Corex is, because this is going to be obviously any impact which it takes when it's out in the elements, obviously against the wind, is how rigid it's going to be, how long it's going to last. So that is the densest Corex on the market. And then someone else is the greyback material. So the greyback material is totally exclusive to Cramer signs.
Okay.
Our Corex comes from Italy, and we've worked with our Corex supplier for about 2 years to master this project, because we needed to ensure that it was still fit for purpose, and then that it did what we wanted to achieve. And what it achieved, and I'll show you an example. I'm hoping this is going to work, and I think you're going to like the example as well, Simon. So I'll just quickly spin this round. So this is an example for sailboards. Which would
Okay, very good. I'll have that afterwards.
Yes, yeah, I'll get that sent over. So what I'll do is I'll just move this up to the light. So with what agents struggle with, especially if you've got a predominantly white board, is the show through from the reverse side of the board. So when it's out in the daylight, if you imagine on the reverse side of the board, the text on the reverse side can show through. The post, if it's up the middle, it can cast a shadow, which can make it hard to read. And and this is your brand at the end of the day, it can make it appear quite cheap, which is not good. So this is an example of whiteback material. So I'm hoping it's going to show up. If not, just take my word for it. But can you kind of see there you can see the reverse side coming through?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, and that's so you can see the reverse side coming through, and that's what can be quite damaging to boards which are of a predominantly white design. So what we do, so this is the Corex which we use, which, as I said, is totally exclusive. So whilst this is the board, on the reverse side is totally grey. So what this does, this blacks out any light passing through to the reverse side. Okay. So that when you have a complete board, so this is a complete board that's made up of 2 sheets. Inside there is the greyback. Yeah. So that when you when it's subject to sunlight, there is absolutely no show through whatsoever, and that's really is a bit of a game changer for the industry, because we were constantly being asked on how we could improve this and stop that cheap look. Because at the end of the day, if your brand is predominantly white, you can't change that. So no, obviously
I feel like I've been part of tomorrow's world here, Tom. You've done a live science demonstration. But actually, you've done it on a tiny camera that we're on here on StreamYard, and it was very demonstrable, obviously, how much light was coming through on that first one there.
And even if you were here, the show through is so much worse, and that really is paired up with the other changes. That was a bit of a game changer. I'll quickly move this back round. Back to the seat. So yeah, no, that was that's something which, as I said, we developed with our Correct supplier, and was is something which is totally exclusive to Cramer science. So I'm really we're really happy to have brought that onto the market, and then it's down to the small details, what we do with the board prior to print and after. So as I mentioned, we prime the boards before they go to print, and after they go through a UV drying process. So this is sort of a sunbed for the board. So this cures the ink to the boards, and just again, it's all about longevity, and that's going to make sure that the inks don't become brittle in the colder seasons, and you can get maximum uses out of the board. So yeah, no, and then it goes down to pre-drilling. So all of our boards are pre-drilled, and so they're drilled to suit the post, they're drilled to suit the slips, so that when the agent receives them, or the board rector, they're really easy for assembly. And it's all these small details that go into place, which really sets us apart, because our main competitors there isn't really another signage supplier which supplies boards nationally. There's suppliers dotted around the country which supply like their local area. But what you'll find is 1 minute they're printing mugs and kerfuffle hats, and the next minute they're doing estate agency boards. So we're specific to the property sector, and as I said, we've worked with our print suppliers and our current suppliers to master this board and to increase that longevity. So we have a research and development team that work all year round, obviously, to ensure the quality of the boards, new innovations, and to ensure that the boards are ethical as well.
Excellent. So I mean, it all leads to specialisation, doesn't it? When you're focused on a particular area, you just get better and better. And actually, like, I don't know why I'm comparing this, but athletes, when they're at the top of the game, don't they? The leaders are based by the ones who get those iterative improvements, and that's what you're doing all the time, where you can improve in a few key areas.
Yeah, no, exactly that, and that's what I mean by not downplaying, obviously, other suppliers, but where they might be printing, as I said, they might be printing other items, t-shirts, whatnot, brochures, in between. Their sole focus isn't on boards. We solely print these boards. We like, as I said, we've got a development team which looks into this and how we can increase it. We listen to our customers and try to build the board around them. So yeah, no, and as I said, we've been operating for 36 years. So yeah, if we ain't got it right by now, then there's something going wrong.
Obviously, the whole process that goes into it, there's a lot of production and everything else. Clearly, you're using actual, consumable goods as well. So, I think I've seen your Join the Green Team campaign as well.
Yes.
Just talk to us about, obviously, now green issues are becoming ever more important, both from consumer-led. Obviously, the public is heavily focused on wanting that. Is there the same sort of kind of appetite, though, from businesses? I mean, I suppose, just asking you frankly, do agents really talk about that carbon neutral side of things?
Yes. So so again, this links back to the previous question as well, what sort of sets us apart, and that is that whilst we develop this greyback material, we also work with them. And again, this was part of that 2-year process to develop the perfect board, and that is to ensure that the boards are actually made from recycled Corex and can then be recycled again after use. So for us as a printer, a signage manufacturer, we have a certain responsibility where we need to future-proof the product and look forward, and to ensure the survival of our industry, to make sure we're being as ethical as possible. Estate agents boards do come under some scrutiny sometimes, just as to how eco-friendly they can be, and in the past they haven't. But this was only launched just over a year ago. Is that we can offer a total green solution for estate agents. So as I mentioned, our boards can be fully recycled after use. The posts themselves, they're sourced from FFC approved renewable forests in Sweden. So that's the timber, the boards, the inks, also water-based, so they can so not damaging to the environment. So what this does is just means that after the board's comes to end of life and after it's finished being used, it avoids landfill. So yeah, no, I mean, obviously we all have our responsibilities to ensure obviously that we're making the right decisions in reducing our carbon footprint. But going back to what you said about, is there a demand for this for estate agencies? And yes, we're seeing lots of estate agents including this on their boards now because they're ordering through us, and we've won a lot of business purely off the back of the eco-friendly element. So last October, so October 2019, we did the full rebrand for the Hunters Group, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Hunters brand, but in the bottom corner they have the sustainably sourced logo, which is printed onto their board. So they're actually highlighting the fact that their board is sustainably sourced, and we've made that possible for them. So it's great marketing for their businesses. It's great marketing for any estate agent, but especially for the larger corporate businesses where they have that sort of responsibility. And because it is important to a lot of people. I mean, it affects us all, and it's important to a lot of people. And it's just, it adds another string to your bow when marketing a property, and that you can provide sustainably sourced boards. So with this, what we with the boards, the last part to this is the majority of our boards are delivered on Cramer Signs vans, and this allows us that when the boards come to end of life and we deliver the new boards, we actually collect the old boards free of charge. For the board directors. So if it's up north, then obviously the board directors can send the board to us, or we can arrange for a small fee to have a courier send them to us. And then what we do is we bring them back here, and then monthly we have a collection, and all the boards are recycled. So again, it's avoiding landfill. As an average, we're working on about 8 tons of Corex per month, so that's a hell of a lot of boards. And we set ourselves a goal, a 3-year goal, to be recycling 100 tons per year. So last year we recycled 52 tons. This year so far, bearing in mind that between April and May, not much was going on with the whole COVID situation, we've actually already recycled 84 tons of Corex, and that's not counting our collection in November and December yet to come. So way for next year to achieve that goal. So yeah, no, it's and as I said, I think as a printer, as a sign manufacturer, it's a responsibility that we need to take seriously, just to ensure that boards are produced in the right way, and that there's a future for them in the marketplace.
Look, I'm a what's it? Champagne socialist, woolly liberal, bit of a heart, so I do pay a lot of attention. A lot of attention to green issues. But even if there were 2 propositions, and the green one was much more expensive, I might put my green credentials for a while. But the key thing is, if you've got similar propositions, but you've got a tick in the box on the green thing, I'm going to go with you 100% of the time, and that's what I think is really important. You've got great prices anyway, so layering on top is just another tick in the box, isn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely, and like you said, it's it hasn't actually affected the price. So it hasn't. We've kept it exactly the same. So it hasn't made them any more expensive, and it was just something else to appeal to estate agents, and we've won. Like I said, we've won a lot of business purely off the back of that. Just where agents are looking to reduce their carbon footprint, and we can do that and help them through their signage. So no, it's something which we're really proud of, and it's working really well.
Good stuff. You've got 5-star reviews on Kerfuffle. You've got Peter Lawrence saying it's good, and now Greta Thunberg, the environmentalist, is saying something as well.
The hat trick.
That's really good. Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned earlier in terms of some of the quite innovative bespoke signs you get involved in.
Yeah.
Rotating on there. What is there a bit of an arms race in terms of style, or what are the kind of innovations that are going on at the moment?
Yeah, so something which we've seen become more and more popular is the reflective boards. So what we do is, historically, and some other suppliers still use it, is reflective inks. The thing is with this, it become quite brittle during the colder seasons. They flake off the board. But what we do is, with reflective boards, we lay we flood the board in a reflective vinyl prior to print. so that once the board is then erected at night with the street lamps, car headlights, it provides a level of reflectiveness which is going to give you that around the clock exposure. So a lot of agents are starting to use this. The grade of reflective that we use is the same as a high-vis jacket and the roadside safety sign. So it's totally compliant with local councils and the highway code, so that you're not going to get any kickback off of them. You're not going to be blinding anyone, causing car accidents. But it's something. It just, again, it's just maximising the exposure of your brand. It's offering that around the clock exposure. So that's became very popular. I touched on it earlier, the American adopted style of the hangman board. That is a lot of people, for sort of £1 million plus properties, people are starting to develop prestige divisions, and the hangman board does this really well. So it's again, it's the timber used is sourced from FSC approved forests, but it's a joinery grade timber, so it gives you a really a nice sort of high class feel to the board. And what we do is with our hangman posts, some other suppliers will use shackles, and the problem with this, there's so much movement between the board, and you can end up taking someone out that's walking on the side of the road. So but equally, some suppliers do use like very sturdy ones, but they hold the board in place. And the problem with this is that when the wind blows against it, can damage the board. So we developed a special bracket which allows for just a small bit of movement where it's not going to damage the board, but equally you're not going to take someone's eye out at the same time. But the hangman board is becoming more and more popular. And I guess then it's the QR codes. It's the QR codes, but a lot of, as I mentioned earlier, that's becoming more and more popular, and people are using them for the virtual viewings. Virtual viewings have become very popular during COVID, and where everybody's working remotely, and the QR code can take them directly through to the website. And then off the back of that, as we said, the NFC technology is there. So we're always looking at ways. People come up with ideas all the time. Can my boards light up? Can I have an LED strip at the top? But the problem is you're quite restricted in that sense, just because you would then require planning on every single board. So the way around that is the reflective board, which we brought onto the market. So yeah, no, we're always looking at ways that we can obviously increase the value of the board and help your board stand out. A lot of agents use weird and wacky shaped boards. We've just done a rebrand for leaders where they've got horizontal slips, and they've got like a cut out pigeon which sits on the top of the board. So it actually looks really cool, and it stands out really well. And I mean, we're again, there's no set mold for an estate agent board. Obviously there's legalities in terms of size, but with our design studio we can work with you to ensure that we can achieve something that's bespoke, that's personal to your brand, and suggest ways in which you can help your board stand out along the way.
Big fan of pigeons. What I love hearing your passion here, though, Tom, and your knowledge coming here is, on the face of it, we just put these like well-presented boards, obviously stand out. The level of detail and the process from the actual creation of the inks, the boards themselves, and everything else. There's just there's a whole mass of things that are needed to make that quite simple thing happen, isn't there?
Yes. Yeah. No, it's crazy, really, because like, as you said, a lot of people, and if I speak to some of my partner's friends, they'll say, "What do you do?" And I say, "Oh, we produce a estate agency board." It's a bit like, huh? But then there's so much that goes on behind the scenes. I mean, and the demand is still there. As I said, it's still a very important marketing tool. Last year, we produced in excess of 500,000 estate agency boards. And to actually put this into perspective of where we're at this year, and where the market is, obviously it's been a very buoyant market this year off the back of estate agents being given the green light back in April, almost overnight, and then the stimulus of the stamp duty holiday. We've seen sort of record levels, transaction levels, and that's shown in the boards, because already we're up to 620,000 boards already this year, and that's not even taken into consideration November or December yet to come. So yeah, no, I mean it's there's definitely a place for it in the market, and we'll always be here to look for new innovative ways how we can increase and enhance estate agency boards and get the maximum uses out of them.
So what's Tom?
What's that? Sorry.
So what's next for Cramer Flying?
What's next? Yeah. Sorry, it just cracked up a bit. So for next.
I do that all the time.
Next for us, which is quite exciting, between Christmas and New Year, we're actually having a new state-of-the-art 8-colour process printer installed. So this is sort of in line with where the market's at, and this is going to increase our capacity by 30%. So this is going to bring that 10 working day lead time down. We appreciate that the property market is a very reactive market. So as I said, back in April, you were almost given the green light overnight. Then the stamp duty came into play. Last year, there was setbacks with Brexit and whatnot. And estate agents are constantly having to react to the way the market is. And we, as a main supplier of signage, we need to be able to have the capacity in place to be able to be as reactive as them. So that's going to really, really help. As I said, that's going to be installed over that time. As I mentioned earlier, we've got our Cramer Signs vans, and going down the Go Green route, we've set ourselves a target by 2025 to have the full fleet as electric vans. We're looking into the possibility of LED technology in terms of the lighting at all of our production units and the installation of solar panels, which will run all 3 of our manufacturing units. So again, the focus is reducing our carbon footprint, remaining as ethical as possible, because as I said before, we have a responsibility as a signage supplier to be as sustainable as possible and to ensure the future of our products and our industry. But the ultimate aim is to increase market share. And again, this can be from independent estate agents right through to multi-office agents. There's no job too big or too small. A good example of this last week is an estate agent of mine, he just wanted 10 estate agency boards to put up, which were all Christmas themed with festive messages to put up in his local area. No problem at all. And we also completed the rebrand of 8,000 boards for Hamptons last week, celebrating their 150 years in business. So that obviously shows the two extremes, but also again backs up the claim earlier that the boards are still relevant. As you can imagine, a rebrand of that size for Hamptons is going to be quite costly, but they still recognise the importance of the for sale board. And after all these years of being in business for 150 years, they still factor that into their budget and use the boards as a way to introduce a new brand to the public. So for that reason, and back in my statement earlier, I think there's always going to be a place for estate agency boards as a marketing tool for estate agents.
I think you don't have to worry, do you, too much? I mean, if you think about my litmus test is always, if you were starting up an agency tomorrow, okay, you phone up Rightmove, you get signed up there, you get your telephone installed. You've got to be pretty close behind that, haven't you, in terms of the first suppliers you're going to get in touch with.
Yeah, as you said, I think we're firmly there. I don't think we'll ever be removed off that tick list. It's a necessity for estate agents, and and obviously we're just here. Like I said, we're always developing new ways to ensure it's going to be here for years to come as well. So we firmly believe that the estate agency board is here to stay.
Well, and if you just producing those boards with me, we just
flood the streets with those.
And I'm not worried about CO2 on that one. Okay, Tom, let me just summarise then. So basically, this is how estate agents can obviously reduce their carbon footprint. First and foremost, it's a serious issue, and you can do it without it costing anything extra. That's the main thing there. But secondly, you can talk about how agents obviously need to maintain total brand consistency across all of their signage requirements. You can't have different tone colours here and different ethics at other areas. Keep it consistent no matter how many different departments and divisions the agent has.
Exactly that.
Of course, and most importantly, I think from our point of view, is helping estate agency board, achieve their maximum marketing potential through your constant innovation and attention to detail and quality point of view. I think Those are the key points I take from what we've been talking about.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and yeah, they are the three main driving forces for the business: is remaining ethical, brand consistency across the range, because we are that one-stop shop solution, and by utilising us for the design element as well, we can just get the most out of your signage and ensure you're consistent throughout. So and obviously just acting as a single source solution is going to make it a lot easier for estate agents, because signage can be very daunting. It's not something that you deal with on the day-to-day, and we're here to hold your hand through that process.
One-stop shop. Everyone loves a one-stop shop, don't they?
Yes.
And actually, you mentioned the design service. I think I want to say, first of all, thanks. Great to have you on the show and again on the platform. But you've been really kind in terms of coming up with an offer for our Kerfuffle members as well. So, would you mind, while I just put that on the screen, would you mind just talking us through it?
Yeah, of course. So basically, we've offered to all of the Kerfuffle customers, so inquiries which come through from Kerfuffle, we're offering a total free design service. So this can be from an estate agent just starting off to just looking to enhance your existing brand. So that's a free service, and then also a free brand MOT. So we carry this out for estate agents. So you might not even be looking to change your boards, but feel free to contact us. We can send your design down to our design team, and we can come up with ways in which we think your board can be enhanced. Usually this carries the cost of about £150, so that's a good saving there, paired up with the design service. I mean, it's if you're looking for a new design, rebranding, or a new start agent, it's a no-brainer, really.
That's absolutely good. On here as well. Just thank you for that, Tom. That's absolutely fantastic. And yeah, obviously, as we say to everybody, I might just actually show us here if we can do it. Have a look when we're talking to these fantastic suppliers. Here we can see here's the I've just noticed they put the Christmas Kerfuffle in now.
Oh yeah, I see that. Yeah, the snowflakes.
That probably cost me thousands to do that. Most important of all, big 5-star rating in the top corner here. Obviously, lots of different reviews there. There's the lovely big deal itself, going into more detail. If anybody is interested, just click on the I'm interested button there. We'll obviously pass those on to Tom and his team. And as we can see down here in detail, all named, many of these very well-known brands. Look at this: Waterford's, Greenslade, Taylor Hunt, Your Move, Miles Byron, Robertson, Michael and Jackson, Strakers, Find It 360, Pearson's. And I was going to say there's a fantastic one at the bottom, but that's Andy Oderman. So
yes.
I'm not going to include him because his head will grow too much.
He's a fellow Gooner, so I've got a lot of time for him.
Well, we won't talk about last night then.
No, we'll move on very quickly. You don't want to see a grown man cry live, do you?
No, it's never the best of looks. Tom, thank you once more. Genuinely great to hear you. Great to hear the success. Great to hear just how relevant and obviously and the different things you're doing to keep agents at the top of their game. But,
no, thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. And as I said, obviously we're really excited to be part of Kerfuffle, and this is sort of a new venture for us. So we're looking forward to using this platform to interact with everyone and hope to be a part of a few more videos to come. So really exciting.
We can guarantee on that front there's going to be loads more. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. Cheers.